perhaps we should try and give a context of why we are here. We've brought together quite an eclectic collection of people. And I'm sure we're all wondering what would be the outcome by the end of today. And I thought, chatting to Adila this morning, it was really interesting to think about a trip that I did to Guyana to meet with grassroots activists about a week ago, and dealing with some of their challenges that they face, very far away from the big city of Johannesburg. And what I just wanted to illustrate for you is a couple of photographs. This is a school. This is Jaji Secondary School. It was a school that they spoke to me about, and it had 6 classrooms, and government had committed to build a new block of classrooms. 5 of the classrooms are used. 1 is used as a storeroom, and as a teacher's office, and as a principal's office. But this is the reason why we are meeting here today. If you look at it, this is the conditions under which those kids are studying every day. These are the urinals. This is when it rains. You carry umbrellas inside your classroom. This is what, unfortunately, you cannot see. But before they start to study, they have to first sweep out the rain. And the democracy was essentially won, not by leaders, but by the fact that individual citizens stood up and decided that they had enough. They had nothing to lose but their chains. We made people bystanders in their development. And that has been the most singular failure for us today. The failure of institutions, the failure of programs, the failure of public dialogue like we saw around Annie Booysen. And so what this is, and part of the work that I'm doing globally, and part of the work that I'm doing with Justin, is to look at this concept of an active citizenry, which is a very fashionable word today. What does it actually mean? I think back often to when I was a trade union leader. What would I do today if I had access to internet, the Facebook and Twitter and the social media? Would it have changed our lives? Would it have accelerated the pace of change? In Egypt, about a month or 2 after the Arab Spring, where the world was ablaze with this notion that Twitter and Facebook were the means by which people organized themselves. And yes, it played a very important role. But the fact of the matter is that these are just tools. And the question is, what do we do with these tools? They're not an end on itself. They're tools that allow us to allow people like the parents of these children, like the teachers who are committed to education, like the community members in there, to organize themselves to fight their battles. We didn't win freedom by Jane Naidu going around and promising people freedom. We said, we will work with you, build the tools together, build the organization together, build the leadership of where you can take up your bread and butter issues and fight your battles. That's why we won. And how is it that we have forgotten that today? So while there are lots of things we should not take from the past, there are some things essentially we should take. And so this meeting is an attempt to bring together people to look at what the issues are that face people that are fighting these battles, and what are the tools and applications that are available that can accelerate. Because one of the things about the scandal of textbooks in Limpopo, that Section 27 can speak eloquently, is that even the government didn't know how many schools there were in Limpopo. Didn't know how many schools didn't have furniture. Cannot tell you exactly how many students there are, how many toilets need to be built. This is not rocket science. And I think that's the challenge that faces us today, to find the type of appropriate connections between ourselves here, the appropriate platforms where we can start to build that connects social mobilization and organizing to what you are able to develop in terms of applications that today can be built for any activity. But the activity that we're most concerned about is how to deepen democracy. and the reality of the democracy. So that, as an introduction, is why we are here and why we've gathered you. It's a brainstorm. It's an attempt to try and have a real conversation between ourselves. We want to be very frank and open.